Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back for some more EVE Online. This is going to be, well, my last video before the expansion. Unfortunately, as the expansion launches, I will be at work, so can't really make a very first video on the day itself, but we'll get into that as quickly as possible, of course. But for this video, I want to take a look at rig production. It is something that I personally have not done a lot, but a lot of people always mention that as a good option for newer players to take a look at the industry side of EVE Online for the first time. I constantly tell people to take a look at munitions, because of course munitions are constantly used up and thus find a pretty steady market with generally some pretty steady margins there. But of course rigs is something that also get consumed constantly. At least once the ship is destroyed, or if you do a full refit, for instance. So it has its advantages as well. In order to do that, I went out and grabbed a couple of rig BPOs that I have, and of course this is what I have been gathering in the last couple of weeks, so finding and making. And part of that is, well, I'll take these. I don't think that they'll ever be a part of production for rigs, but here is all of my salvage loot, and that is of course I should definitely stack that. Looks like I haven't pressed stack since I added my last bit, so it's this stuff. It's 24 million in salvage loot, and that is of course the raw materials that you need for your rig production. I've been doing this mostly in anomalies and in combat signatures. I personally think that level 4 missions in Highsec will be the most efficient way of grabbing this type of loot, and then, you know, I have one account, one character at a time. In all likeliness, a very good, strong mission runner with a second account that focuses on the salvaging might just be the most optimal way to grab the resources for yourself. Of course, you can always purchase all of that stuff as well if you want to, and get into the industry side of rig production that way. So let's get in the manufacturing Raitaru and let's take a look at that. The first thing that you should note, if I put all of this in my item hanger, we've got large capacitor, medium capacitor, then we get some small resistance rigs, and then also a small shield rig here. This is only 2.6 million for 7 BPOs. That indeed does feel very cheap, very affordable, very doable for a newer player as a first avenue into industry in EVE Online. Even this large capacitor rig is only 1.25 million. Not that big of an investment, and then of course you want to research that puppy and see if you can't get that one to optimal material efficiency and optimal time efficiency. This doesn't even take that much time because they are such cheap blueprint originals. So that is indeed a very, very good suggestion for newer players. I think you can look into munitions. Some of those are even cheaper, but rigs definitely are quite affordable as well to start building up your blueprint library. And now let's take a look at that. Well, that is a disappointment. To create a large rig, I need more tripped power circuits than the salvaging that I've done in, that is, I think, the last 2 weeks or so that I've been keeping that salvage in my stash. So alright, just one, and what's the input price? 4.8 million, output average price 5.8 million. That's actually a pretty decent margin, but you can see that you do need a decent amount of salvage in order to actually go for the larger large rigs. So that's a little bit disappointing. Let's move on to the medium rig then. Take a look at that. It's a capacitor control circuit, so I think a very general standard rig to take a look at. Only takes 16 burnt logic circuits, 4 melted capacitor control consoles, and then 13 tripped power circuits. Pretty standard stuff, definitely quite plentiful to find. Input price 1 million ISK, output price 1.25 million. Okay, 25% profit or margin on this one, disregarding taxes, job costs and things like that. Of course, it's definitely not so bad, and I could, for instance, try to make 3 of them. Look at the time of this as well, and why are we cannot use this blueprint? Oh, from the current location. Gotcha. I'm actually gonna put these in the item hanger then. This is some of the other stuff that I try to make from time to time. I haven't been super active in industry lately, but I did want to take a quick look at the rigs here. And only takes 1 hour and 10 minutes to produce these 3 rigs and to make me, let's make 4 of them, right? 3.9 million input and 4.9 million output. So this is 1.5 hours, 4 rigs, normally an easy 1 million ISK profit from this job. So let's make that one. And then what actually surprised me when I was taking a look at that, that's unfortunate. Don't have enough malfunctioning shield emitters. Do I? Yep, I need more of those as well. More of those on all of them. That is too bad, because what I did find out, if I take the small EM for instance, input price 15,000 ISK, 15.4 thousand ISK, output price 32,000 ISK. That's a 100% profit margin on this anti-EM screen. So if you do salvage, well, I would say adding this industry layer, especially on some of the right rigs, is going to be quite beneficial. I spotted another one that was actually even better, 15k. Look at that, 47,000 estimated price for the output. That's 3 times the price. That's 200% of a margin on the salvage that you find. Not bad at all. And so I still have a small core defense. Yeah, also needs more stuff that I don't have. So just these couple of medium rigs definitely mean that I'm going to have to go out there, do more salvaging, maybe get into a level 4 agent, do some missions there, try to get even more salvaging going. I should have all the skills to perfectly fly the golem at this point. So it's definitely something that I should take a look at here. Input price 375,000 ISK, output price 434. Not as good as some of these resistance small rigs, 15k input, again 30k output, that's double the price. That is pretty awesome. And yeah, we've got our one job going that is going to make us an easy 1 million ISK. Not a lot, of course, for an established player, but I think that this clearly shows the affordability and the accessibility of rig production for newer players. On top of that, salvaging is definitely not a super hard profession or anything like that to get into. Doesn't take too much in the skill points to get going on that. Just, you know, get a destroyer, lots of high slots, and get started on the salvaging. Maybe follow someone else in missions or something like that. Could be pretty damn beneficial. We'll end up with taking a look at the market. This is just a couple of blueprints that I have, but if you take a look at the modifications, then at the rigs, these are all the different categories. So for instance, you have the armor rigs. Let's take the large ones, and half of these, or take one, that's already 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of them. And then if you go for the astronautics, then you've got another, pretty much the same, all of these categories. That's a lot of different rigs to take a look at. Energy weapon rigs, let's see how many of those. Look at that, that's still 2, 4, 6, 8, no, 7 of them as well. Yeah, it's a huge amount of rigs, and all of these come in variations. Small, very, very affordable, super quick to make, doesn't take a lot of salvage in order to actually get that process going. And you could already tell from the, maybe we'll take a quick look at some of these as well. Let's take the collision accelerator, for instance. Can I show info? Then we'll take a look at industry. View in industry. Let's take a look at that. Input 1.3 million. Okay, that's a surprise. Output 1.3 million. So not all of them have that great margin, but some of them have those insane 100 and 200% margins as well. Can I take a look at a few market details on this? Anything available? No, of course not. Estimated price, can't really see that here, but yeah. What I was saying is it's a lot of rigs. It's a massive library for you to start to build up in, and start with the small ones. Super accessible, super affordable as well. We'll take a quick look at the rigs in here, of course. What's this worth? 125,000 ISK. I mean, that is really not a price. Something that you have to forego. You can easily afford like a full library of all of these small rigs. Start researching them, start building from them, find out which ones have those best margins, and then move up to the medium rigs, which here a medium, where is it? That's medium shield rig, where, oh, it's of course in production. right here, owned by me normally. Can I see what the value is on this one? No, not right away. But of course, it's going to be a step up from the 125 and then between the 1.2 million for the large. So let's say that that one is 500,000 is, again, not a price either. You've got all of these categories that you can get going on. Shield rigs, arm rigs, astronautics rigs, engineering rigs, often super popular, of course, but all of these could be built up. Go for small, medium, then large rigs. And if you want to keep going, if this is really something that you want to do, you can even start looking into the capital rig market as well. And after that, if you really are a massive industrialist, well, you can start to maybe look into Tech 2 production as well. But what I always say about Tech 2 production, you usually want to do that within an alliance or something like that that has a clear access to all of the productions needed for the Tech 2. Well, actually, it's Salvage again. You could really look into where do I get lots of these intact armor plates, interface circuits, nanite compounds, and maybe that is actually possibly the most doable Tech 2 production, the most accessible Tech 2 production as well. So looking at this, yeah, I think you get lots of that in wormholes. Potentially from the pirate data sites. That's not even that hard to do and to fight. Pirate relic sites, excuse me. So I have to fully agree here, actually. My munitions idea is basically to get that stable market, to get these constant margins, but I must say rigs definitely a very, very viable alternative, because as we've seen here, really affordable to get started on. You can build up a massive library because there is a huge amount of rigs to research. You can then upgrade to medium, large and even XL rigs, and I think if you want to get into Tech 2 production, well, the easiest thing to produce for Tech 2 is going to be the rig market as well. So I'll continue exploring that a little bit. I find it very interesting. Perhaps you'll see me dive into wormhole space to try and find some of that Tech 2 salvage as well. And I will see if we can do a little bit more of that rig production. For now, that's going to be it for this quick video. I hope it can help some newer players that want to try out industry in EVE Online find their way into doing so, and give them an idea as to something that they can try all by themselves. This really does feel like a very accessible first jump into industry. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.